everyone. How are you guys today? Woo! It is Thursday. Bob and my sister Patty are upstairs. Bob is waiting for a bunch of people to come over for a board meeting, and Patty is sitting on the deck enjoying the view and watching the deer and listening to the birds. The goldfinch have been out, the hummingbirds have been out, all kinds of wonderful stuff. Hey, and there's a bunch of people here. Thank you, Angie. I'm glad you liked the intro. That was kind of inspired this morning when I did it. Those are all my photographs except for the people in the head, and the background videos are different, but they're my photos. Yeah, it fit so well. And then I got this amazing surprise that I'm going to share with you guys today. I can hardly wait. Oh my gosh. Oh, you've been watching the Gruffalo in between premieres. Oh my gosh. So we've got Linda, he is here. Yay. Hi, Linda. And Larry. There's Larry and Madonna. Hi, Madonna. How are you? Nice to have you here. Oh my gosh. And Julia. There's Julia Lee. And Angie. How are you doing? It was a beautiful day today. I don't know about you, but it was nice. The clouds are rolling in now. Coming your way, Larry and Angie. The clouds are coming your way, but it's still warm and nice. And there's Fatima. Yay. She's here. Ooh la la. And let's see, I talked with by email with Gail. She sends her love, and her mom is getting better and better and starting to get a little bit of function back in some things that she's doing. But Gail is still so busy with that she's not able to join us yet. She's looking forward to when she can, but she sends her love. And it was just one of those things yesterday. I was going through email and I thought, I need to email Gail. And so it was just a good thing to do. Julia, the only thing that's keeping me from being tired is water. It's just what I did. So anyway, it's really good to have you guys here tonight. And is Lupe is here? And did I not see her come in? If she's here, I haven't gotten there yet. Did I see Lupe come in? If you're here, Lupe, hi. She oftentimes will hang out in the back. And there we've got, what is a Gruffalo? Gruffalo there's a book about a Gruffalo. Gosh, I'll have to look and see if I can find that one again. Yeah, so it's a children's story. The Gruffalo. It's great. Anyway, I have to, I've got so many, we'll get through this, but so Tuesday night was the presentation, the reception for Bob's and My Art show. A whole bunch of my Art Tart friends showed up, and a couple people from our neighborhood. And then my sister Sarah showed up, and she had to have some kind of something done, and she was feeling a little dizzy, but she perked right up and got along there. And then my brother-in-law and sister Carolyn snuck in just after I got started on the presentation. So we waited till about 4. It started at 4, and so about 4:30 I started the presentation. And so they snuck in too, and I was like, oh, they're here. So did the whole thing, and it lasted about 20 minutes, I would say. And I was everybody was like, because they kind of felt, I put a lot of video into it, and I'm going to edit and put it out on YouTube as a YouTube video. So the whole thing, but I had them through all different kinds of things going here and there, and all kinds of fun stuff. And at the end, I told everybody thanks for coming, and answered a couple questions, and asked if there were, and I said, thanks for, I said, it's really nice. I said, my sister Sarah's here. She lives on Treasure Island. My sister Carolyn and her husband Jim, and my other sister Carolyn. So, sister 2 and sister 3 in here, and I'm sister 4. And then Patty Nebel was sitting in the back, and she goes, "And Sister One is over here." And I went, "What?" And Patty had snuck in the door around the backside. She sneaked up on Bob. He was really surprised, and she pulled her hat down so that I wouldn't really see her, and so she could kind of watch it because I was so busy. I had no idea. She drove over from Eastern Washington, drove over White Pass after stuff, and surprised me by coming to the show. It was just such a treat. And then we all went out to dinner. She stayed overnight at Carolyn's, and now she's here for 2 nights with us. So I'm really excited. Oh, yeah. I've been watching children's films clips that have won awards like at the Sundance Film. Yes, there's, yeah, tell everybody where you're watching that, Linda, because those are really fun to watch. And someone's lurking thought it was Lupe. It might be Gail. Gail might have tried to sneak in today. And there might be somebody lurking from my creative work hour because I did, they saw the opening video this morning after I did that, and once I got it done. So anyway, it was a delight. So it was really a good evening. I was totally exhausted. Yesterday, I don't even really quite remember I had to get the ad done for the KP News, Cape Peninsula News, for the art walk for next month, in August. And so the ad had to be in by today. So I had to do that yesterday. And then today I had watercolor class, and I came home from watercolor class to a surprise. It was this. It was sitting on the couch. Let me get this. And I'm going, oh my goodness, people are arriving for Bob's meeting, and Aldo is having a conniption fit. So if you hear a dog in the background, hopefully he doesn't come through, but he's having a fit. So I came home, and there sitting on the little couch in the studio was this box. And I covered it up, but underneath that, it said Larry Trout. This is something surprising from Larry. So I had to wait to open it. And so I slit the sides already, and I slit part of the top, but not the whole thing. So I'm going to finish slitting the top, and I waited to open it with you guys. So I don't know. I even had to clean my desk up enough so I could get to things. Okay, and it says, there's a note. Dear Gretchen, can't express how grateful we all are for your wonderful talent and unique sanctuary that you so graciously share. Oh my gosh, I should have read this first. I hope this in some small way shows you what you mean to us. Oh, I'm Larry Nancy. Okay. Silly me. Why do I do that? Why do I wait and read things? I should open it. What? Oh my God. It said fragile on it. Fragile. Look at this, you guys. Okay. Oh my God. I'm gonna lose it. I'm really gonna lose it, you guys. It's the prince. Oh no. Uh-oh. First up, they didn't get the fragile part. Fortunately, I have more glass, Larry. Don't worry about it. Hang on. I have another piece of glass that fits this size. Let me just get it out of there so I don't... Oh. Shipping is so crazy. Hang on. I gotta get this out of the way so I can show everybody this. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I know Larry's probably really irritated that the glass broke, but look at this, you guys! Oh my gosh! Look at that! I am so thrilled. Oh, Larry, it's even better in person. Oh. And seriously, I have like 20, 30 frames out in the shed out there. And I know I have a glass that fits this one because I'm always taking the frame and taking the glass out because I'm always breaking glass when I'm frame. Look at this. Oh my gosh, Larry, thank you. Angie, thank you, you guys. This is just spectacular. I mean, I loved it when we saw it, when you sent the digital image, but you know, they always say that it's nothing quite like what it is in person. Oh. Hugs, hugs, hugs. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, this is going to go on the wall over there. That'll go next to Linda's Africa. He might actually sit back here for a while. He'll probably sit back here for a while. And then he'll go sit next to Linda's Africa picture and the elephant and the other things I have over there. Oh my gosh, and this is going to be able to go into the new studio when I get the new studio. Oh my gosh, Larry, thank you so much, you guys. Oh, the prince is home. Yeah, Linda, the prince is home. Larry, is it okay if I rename my photograph that you took this after the Prince of Botswana? I really want to rename my photograph. I'm such a big copycat. I want to rename my photograph. This is so wonderful. Okay, it's going to go right down here. Right here. Yikes. So thrilled. Okay, now let me get this picture back smaller than me, this little round thing, because I'm going to need it smaller for the book. And yeah. And it is gone. There we go. Oh, no, it's not damaged. It's not damaged. The only thing that was broken was the glass. Yeah, the glass is the only thing that's broken. And I've got, like I said, I should sometimes take you guys on a walking tour of the shed that is the garden shed, but has no visible garden things in it other than, nope, no visible garden things in it. I thought maybe there might be something, but nope, no visible garden things in it. It's just got stacks of frames that I bought when Aaron Brothers went out of business, and a bunch of other frames that I had from before that, and then it's got, you know, sleeping bags and stuff like that, but no visible garden tools in the garden shed. Why would you put garden tools in a garden shed? It's like the Lost and Found book. You can't get lost in the Lost and Found. Anyway. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you guys. Linda, if you think the day's complete, yeah, my days is like over the top. We're going to go over the top because tonight's books are all, well, we're going to read a little bit of E.B. White, some writer. But we're going to start with a book by Diwa Tharan Sanders and illustrated by Narina Kanzi. Now, I could not find anything on either one of these gals. Other one, very short. Diwa. Let me try that again. Diwa Tharan Sanders. There she is. Okay. Only thing I had is that she is a Malaysian author of Indian Filipino heritage, a keen yoga practitioner, and she teaches meditation and breath work classes and makes mala necklaces and bracelets for healing, happiness, and inspiration. And the illustrator is, where did I last the gal's name? The illustrator's name. Oh, Fiddle DD. Did I just lose Libby? I didn't lose it. There it is. It's back. It is Narina. There we go. Narina Fiddle. Narina Kanzi, that's right. Kanzi. Sorry, you guys. I got totally distracted with Patty being here and that new package. She is she's on Instagram. Didn't say it. She's 64. She's from Buenos Aires, Argentina. She doesn't have a lot about herself, but her illustrations are really pretty. She doesn't have a website. She just has an Instagram and Facebook page. But let's go back to the book, because the book is called Kaya's Heart Song. What happened? Something went crazy. There we go. And there. Kaya's Heart Song. And it's all, it just, I think it just goes with today. It's a great bucket filler. You guys are going to love it. And then we'll read some more of the Some Writer. Diwa Tharan Sanders and Narina Kanzi, Kaya's Heart Song. It says, grounded in the principles of mindfulness and with a helpful information section at the back of the book, this joyful story set in the vibrant jungles of Malaysia will truly make your heart sing. Yay. Mama, what are you singing? Asks Kaya as Mama sits humming to herself. That was my heart song. Happy hearts have their own songs, says Mama with a wink. Let me tell you a secret. If you have a heart song, anything is possible, even magic. But I don't know my heart song, Mama, says Kaya. Oh, yes, you do, my dear. You just have to learn to listen for it. Kaya sits down to listen, but doesn't hear anything at all. When the time is right, you'll hear it. Learn to quieten your mind so the music can be heard, says Mama with a knowing smile. Now, why don't you go and play outside? Kaya leaves Mama and runs toward the jungle. She skips along the path she knows so well. A butterfly appears next to her. Hello, pretty butterfly. Are you leading me somewhere? Kaya jokes. They come to a small wooden hut. I've not been to this part of the jungle before, Kaya says, but she spots someone that she knows from the village. Good afternoon, Pak, she calls out. Hello, Kaya. How did you find me? Pak asks. The butterfly brought me, but now it's flown away, Kaya explains. And she looks around curiously. What are you doing here, Pak? Oh, I'm guarding the gate. What's behind the gate? She asks. It's an elephant carousel. Ooh! It's the most beautiful carousel Kaya had ever seen. But here in the jungle, it looks unused, unloved, and forgotten. It's broken, Pak says sadly. Kaya hops onto one of the elephants. She begins to uncurl the vines from the elephant's sides. While her fingers busy themselves, she imagines herself as a princess riding her elephant down the jungle paths. Her mind quietens and becomes very still. A soft beat begins to whisper in her ear. She finds herself swaying to its rhyme and rhythm. Suddenly, she feels the carousel turning. Boom, tuck, tuck, boom, tuck, tuck, boom. Shick, shack, shook. Boom, tuck, tuck, boom, tuck, tuck, boom. Shick, shack, shook. Boom, tuck, tuck, boom, tuck, tuck, boom. Wahoo! We're moving! Puck's eyes are wide as saucers. He jumps on too. The elephants begin to move in time to the music. Boom, tuck, tuck, boom, tuck, tuck, boom, shick, shack, shook. Boom, tuck, tuck, boom, tuck, tuck, boom, shick, shack, shook. Kaya's heart beats along with all of this, and all of a sudden, she knows what it is. It's my heart song. I can hear it, she cries. Boom, tuck, tuck, boom, tuck, tuck, shick, shack, shook. Boom, tuck, tuck, boom, tuck, tuck, shick, shack, shook. There's a rustling in the bushes. The butterfly is back, and this time, it's not alone. Mama was right, says Kaya gleefully. If you have a heart song, anything is possible. There is magic in the air, and elephant rides for everyone. As the carousel slows, the elephants curtsy, and Kaya's heart song gently fades away. Thank you, Kaya, for bringing magic to my carousel, says Puck. And thank you, Puck, for helping me find my heart song. I promise to share it for all to hear. And she does. Oops, sorry. She says here, let me see if I can get that to be full size. I wonder if it's needing to be, shape needs to be wide, perhaps. Whoops, there we go. That's a little better. She says, to practice mindfulness is to experience a kind of magic, much like finding your heart song. When the mind quietens and comes into stillness, there is room for awareness to move in. The breath slows, the body relaxes, thoughts calm down, and we stop being and just be. It is in this state of being that we find ourselves completely present in what is real for us at that very moment. Being. I love that. The past and the future are forgotten, and our focus rests solely on the now. We welcome thoughts, emotions, and feelings without resisting them or reacting to them. In this being state, the doors to self-awareness open. Meditation and yoga are ways to explore the beingness of the mind. At the beginning of our story, Mama sits in a cross-legged meditation position, humming her heart song. Meditation brings awareness to the mind and body, which is similar to the awareness that comes through practicing yoga. In yoga, we move through different asanas or postures, often guided by the breath. Paying attention to the breath is one way to come into a mindful state. When Kaya frees the elephants from the vines that have grown around them, she discovers that doing something with full awareness can also bring us to a mindful state. We invite you to explore mindfulness, find ways to bring it into your life. Everyone has a heart song. What's yours? I love that. Let's see if it has anything about them. So it says she's a Malaysian author, teaches meditation and breathwork classes, owns Tulamala, a company that makes mala necklaces and bracelets for healing, happiness, and inspiration. And then Nerini Kanzi is an award-winning Argentinian illustrator with a degree from the National School of Fine Art in Buenos Aires. She's won the prestigious Premio Nacional y Latinoamericano de Literatura Infantil y Juvenil Award. Lantana Publishing put this out. Because all children deserve to see themselves in the books they read. Ah, I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. So cool. So cool. Okay, let's see. And then I go to close that one. So I'm going to look back in just a sec, see if you guys like that. If I can get this to close, go back. Oh, well, it's just going to go back. And I can get to the other book. Come on. Back. There we go. Libby. Anyway, let's see. There it is. Open in Libby. Got it. Got it. Yay. Got it again. Good. I'm ready for the next one. So, gosh, I used to spend so much money at Arab. I know. Arab Brothers. Thank you so much for making Julian's day. Was excited that you watched his live. Thank you. Sorry, wait. Oh my gosh. I need to watch Julian's go back and watch that. That would be fun to do, Lupe. Linda, if you can put the link in our chat, I would love that. Then everybody could get it. So he could have reached an IQ. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Lupe, I was so glad you could make it. I want to ride that carousel. I know carousels are pretty spectacular. The illustration is beautiful and it's a wonderful story. It's, it's interesting. Mindfulness is, it's become such a popular kind of almost buzzword recently and in the past few years, but it is, oh no, I have a glass that size, Larry. Don't worry about it. It's interesting that I know Chase Jarvis, who used to own Creative Live and who's since sold it, his wife, Kate, is a mindfulness coach and has been for, gosh, years, I think for 20, 30 years, for 20 years or so. But it's interesting that I think probably early on when I did yoga, like in college, way long ago, so 40 years ago, they didn't talk about mindfulness. They talked about the breath control and all that kind of stuff and where it got you to. And we did different kind of relaxations, but it is a great word. But I think that taking from the being, we're human beings, but being in the moment, how you be is just pretty spectacular. Oh, that's right. Tamara's not here. Huh. Didn't she? I can't remember. Oh, so anyway, thank you, Linda, for putting that in. Appreciate that. Then we can go take a look at that. So, all right. Well, next we're going to go back we're on chapter 6 of Some Writer. And the title of this chapter is called A Time of Enchantment. And we'll get through a couple of chapters and see how we're doing on that. So let me pull this up so I can pull the book in front of me so I can actually read it a little easier and switch pages. And then I'm going to go boom there. And I'm going to do that. That shows me what we're looking at. I got it. I've got it. And here. Some writer, a time of enchantment. When I got a place, let me go back on mine. When I got a place in the country, I was quite sure animals would appear. And they did. Andy became restless. Now, remember, Andy is actually E.B. White. When he went to college, his buddies gave him that nickname. Andy became restless. He told Catherine he wanted to be more than a successful New Yorker writer. In an article about the Great Depression, Andy wrote, "I hope I see the world is the hope I see for the world is to simplify life." His parents had died within a short time of each other. World War II was underway. Andy had recently been criticized for writing about the war but not offering any solutions. He was uneasy with the celebrity of writers in New York City and frustrated with the New Yorker's policy that editorial writers had to write from the point of view of we. He didn't like having his articles sound as if more than one person had written them. Andy wanted to write from his own point of view about whatever he wanted, and he wanted to do it in Maine. Disenchanted, he took a year off and went by himself to Maine to write My Year, as he called it. But he only wrote one long poem. When he returned to New York, Andy convinced Catherine that they could both work from Maine. Joel would attend the local 2-room schoolhouse. Within days of Andy's announcing he was leaving New York and the New Yorker, although he agreed to continue editing news breaks, the editors of Harper Magazine asked him if he would write essays from Maine for the magazine. They called his column One Man's Meat. He had to write only one piece every month, and more important, he could write about anything and everything that interested him. In Maine, Andy composed his essays for Harper's while tending the animals, shingling his barn, and fishing with Joel. The best writing, he said, is often done by persons who are snatching time from something else. Joel liked their new life in Maine, too. There was time for skating and sledding and sailing. Andy rigged a rope swing in the barn for Joel and built him his first boat, a flat-bottomed scow named Flounder. The boat plans came from a book Andy had kept since childhood. Remember, they had that boat, the Jessie, that they had made. When his parents asked Joel what the biggest difference between his school in the country and his school in the city, he answered that in Maine, the days went by just like lightning. There's his pictures of him. Joel White with his dog, Ruffles. Pulling a berry basket. I have discovered rather too late in life that there is nothing so much fun as building a boat. The best thing about building a boat is that it allows absolutely no time for writing. There isn't a minute to spare. There's the pictures. I love how Melissa Sweet brought in like the vice clamp and the things that she put in to make that, and the homemade boats book. Just so amazing. Oh, let's see. There I am. The scow was Joe's first solo experience with the water. I built her from a picture in the American Boy's handy book, using pluck in place of know-how, and when she glided into the frog pond and Joe and what does it say? And when she glided into the frog pond and Joe dancing around, it was my finest hour. Part of Catherine's job at the New Yorker was reviewing children's books for a column she titled Children's Shelf. Review copies poured into the Whites' farmhouse. Books were piled everywhere, inside cupboards, under cushions, on stair landings. In an essay for Harper's called Children's Books, Andy wrote that he'd found himself flat on his stomach reading about how to build a tree house. The final touch was to include a small radio. Andy wrote, "It must be a lot of fun to write for children. Reasonably easy work, perhaps even important work." When Andy was growing up, he read with passionate interest all the books by William J. Long, a naturalist who wrote about animals in the wilds of Maine. But as an adult, he found most of the children's books dull, except for one, The 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins by Dr. Seuss. This book seemed to him to be the true spirit of nonsense. Andy's essay about children's books caught the eye of Theodore Geisel, Dr. Seuss, who sent it to Anne Carroll Moore. Moore was a book reviewer and children's librarian at the New York Public Library on Fifth Avenue, the library where the famous statues of two lions sit out front, and the library from which Andy had taken out books as a boy. After Moore read the Harper's essay, she sent Catherine and Andy a letter urging Andy to write a children's book. "I feel sure you could if you would, and I assure you the library lions would roar with all their praise." Andy didn't want to be prodded, but he happened to have that story about a mouse tucked away in a drawer. He later wrote James Thurber, who was now a preeminent cartoonist and writer, "I have a children's book, half done." Months later, Andy sent an unfinished manuscript to Eugene Gene Saxton, his editor at Harper and Brothers, which published Andy's adult books. He told Saxton that this story would seem to be for children, but I'm not fussy who reads it. He added, "You will be shocked and grieved to discover that the principal character in the story has somewhat the attributes and appearance of a mouse." Saxton was not grieved. He could hardly wait. But it would be another 6 years before Stuart Little was born. And there it was. There's his notes on the book. That's the actual page from his journal of his writing of Stuart Little. Oh my gosh. That kind of stuff just gives me chills. That's an early draft of Stuart Little, about 1935. Once in everyone's life, there's apt to be a period when he is fully awake instead of half asleep. I think of those 5 years in Maine as the time when this happened to me. Confronted by new challenges, surrounded by new acquaintances, including the characters in The Barnyard who were later to appear in Charlotte's Web, I was suddenly seeing, feeling, and listening as a child sees, feels, and listens. It was one of those rare interludes that can never be repeated. A time of enchantment. I am fortunate indeed to have had the chance to get some of it down on paper. Stuart Little, Chapter 7. My innocent tale of quest for beauty. During World War II, many people who were working at the New Yorker left the magazine to help with the war effort. Harold Ross was so understaffed that Andy and Catherine moved back to New York for a time to help him keep the magazine running. Joel went to a private school in New Hampshire. Catherine nagged Andy to finish Stuart Little, and Carol Moore nagged him too. When his editor nagged Andy about getting the book out, Andy wrote back to him, "I would rather wait a year than publish a bad children's book, as I have too much respect for children." Wow. That's a picture of him at the New Yorker in the 1940s. But as time went on, the news of the war, the move back to New York, and his own writing made Andy anxious, nervous. He said his head felt as if he was a kite caught in branches somewhere, and mice in the subconscious. He described how he felt at a particularly low point. "I was almost sure I was about to die. My head felt so queer." On and off chance that he was about to die, Andy wanted to finish his children's book, so Catherine and Joel would have enough money to live on. Meanwhile, his editor had died. Just 8 weeks after moving back to New York, Andy sent the finished manuscript of Stuart Little to his new editor at Harper Brothers, Ursula Nordstrom. Now, just an aside here, Ursula Nordstrom was also the editor for Maurice Sendak for his first book, and got him to write Where the Wild Things Are and the chicken. Oh, what is that? Anyway, Where the Wild Things Are. So Ursula Nordstrom. Ursula wrote, "Only another children's book editor can know the emotions one has on hearing that a famous writer of adult books is going to send a book for children, for talent in the former does not always carry over to the latter." But she was relieved after she read Andy's manuscript. "I loved the diminutive hero, and I knew children would." Look at that. That's the first page of the manuscript of Stuart Little, about 1944. Typically, the editor alone chooses the illustrator for a children's book, but Ursula included Andy in the search. They considered E.H. Shepard, the illustrator of Winnie the Pooh. They asked Robert Lawson, who had illustrated The Story of Ferdinand, but he was unavailable. Another 5 illustrators were rejected because their mice looked too much like Disney's Mickey Mouse. Finally, Andy suggested the artist Garth Williams, whose work he had seen when Garth was trying to sell cartoons to the New Yorker. Even though Garth had never illustrated a book before, his sketches for Stuart Little were just what Andy and Ursula were hoping for. After Andy saw Garth's final art for the book, he wrote, I think Garth deserves all the bouquets that could be handed him for a brilliant and imaginative job. He has made the pictures enhance and add to the text in a way that only the very best illustrators can, and has made the book his book too, in every way. The publisher's catalog described Andy's novel this way: Stuart Little is small in size only, has the adventurousness, the great purpose, and the indomitable spirit of a classic figure, and his story is funny and tender and exciting by turns. Andy didn't like the word classic. No book was a classic before generations of readers proved it to be. He said, and Andy claimed Stuart Little was just another book. To his distress, his publisher used the term anyway. When the book was almost ready to go to press, Ursula sent Anne Carroll Moore a copy of the manuscript. Remember, she was the one who, the librarian from, yeah. Everyone was eager to hear if Stuart Little would make the library lions roar. But Moore wrote a friend, I was never so disappointed in a book in my life. She wrote an urgent 14-page letter to the Whites explaining why Stuart Little, with its monstrous birth, should not be published. Not only was the story unfit for children and out of hand, but White had blurred the line between fantasy and reality. How could a mouse be born to humans? The two worlds are all mixed up, she wrote. I fear Stuart Little will be very difficult to place in libraries and schools all over the country. Catherine wrote a polite reply. You are right, of course, that Stuart gets out of hand. Didn't you even think it was funny? What I hope is that children of all ages will like Stuart for its humor. It's a dream, quite literally, just as Alice is supposed to have been. Just recently, the notes Andy made after he had that dream, more than 12 years ago, turned up, and I was surprised to find out how clearly the story followed them. How many of you guys out there had this copy of this book? I still do someplace. It might even be in the other room. A few days after Stuart Little came out, Andy's boss, Harold Ross, barged into his office. Saw your book, White. You made one serious mistake. Ross told him he should have said that Stuart was adopted, not born to the Little family. Maybe the worst criticism of all came from the librarian Frances Clark Sayers, Moore's recent successor at the New York Public Library, who stamped it not recommended for purchase by expert. Other libraries banned it too. E.B. White began to wonder if he had made a serious mistake. But what did the real experts think? Letters from children started pouring in. One of thousands Andy received. Only 2 questioned how Stuart came into the world. Though many were uncertain about the ending, most loved the book. March 11th, 1946. Dear Mr. White, we have just finished your book, Stuart Little. Our school librarian asked to read it to help decide whether it would be a good book for the library. We think it would be. In fact, we think you stopped too soon. We would like a continuation of the story. Sincerely yours, the 7th grade. Children were proving Stuart Little to be a classic in the making. It is unnerving to be told you're bad for children, Andy confessed. But he learned 2 things from writing Stuart Little. A writer's instinct is his best guide. And children can sail easily over the fence that separates reality from make-believe. A fence that can throw a librarian is nothing to a child. Later in the same year that the book came out, Ursula wrote to tell Andy that it had sold 100,000 copies. Andy gave her a jar of caviar, a gift of 100,000 sturgeon eggs. In later editions of Stuart Little, E.B. White made one small change. The little son was not born. Stuart arrived. Look at that. Oh my gosh. There's a picture. Let me have a bottle of sarsaparilla, please. Certainly. Gallons of sarsaparilla root beer. I love that. I remember reading that. There was a letter to Ursula Nordstrom. I think. Dear Miss Nordstrom, I feel like the millionth person through a turnstile, dazed and happy. Dear me, 100,000 books. It's a little indecent, isn't it? Over to the next page. When I recover from my 100,000th head cold, which is now upon me, I'd like to take you to a milestone luncheon for at some fashionable restaurant in celebration. You can eat 100,000 stalks of celery, and I'll swallow 100,000 olives. It'll be the E.B. White Ursula Nordstrom book and olive luncheon. E.B. White. Oh my goodness. So that's these two chapters. I think I'm going to stop there. And I can hear Linda already going, no! Oh my gosh. Can you imagine if Stuart Little had not made it? I mean, if they'd, oh goodness. Let's see. I'm going to check back. Landra, our program online with this concept. Ooh, I have to look. The moment is the only place we live. Yes. Said that the hearing loss is there, but Adrian's pain's gone. Okay, good. Yes. Just checking through everybody's comments. I'm reading. Not much of a pencil, just a stub. Yeah, Dr. Seuss. After Despero, Stuart is my favorite mouse. Oh, yeah. You know, and I'm sure Despero has a lot. We would read, I read both of those to the kids, The Tale of Despero and the Stuart Little. And it was interesting to see how there really hadn't been. I mean, yes, there are more mouse stories in between. Oh gosh, there's another couple one. But how the kids would make that kind of similar kind of connection too. Was I right? I love this series of stories. Oh, I'm so glad, Larry. Yay. Okay, you guys. That we made it through 2 more chapters. We'll get through another couple on this. The next comes up is Bad News. A Pig Shall Be Saved is chapter 8. We'll start there. Well, you know who that pig is. Oh my goodness. I am so glad you guys came tonight and got to see this. And for those of you, I'm just going to do something a little different because the opening video that I did was really designed for all of you, for mindfulness. But it is when I started to put it together, I thought, you know what, this is the kind of stuff that these guys inspire in me. And thinking about doing this for you to go with the stories, but thinking about this with this book and what I could put together, it was between the book and it was the inspiration to do something for you guys. And that's what it's one of, I think I'm kind of proud of this one, this opening. So I'm going to play it one more time and then I'm going to come back and we'll close out. So here's this. There we go. All right. There. So yeah, that's all for you. You guys really just kind of inspired that, and it just felt so nice to be able to pull those up. And it's a couple of them I was like, oh my gosh. The one with the fan out of clouds was years ago when we lived in Edmonds. The sun was like that, and another one, the long one with the sunset and the bay. That's the bay in front of my house and from the beach. And so right now, oh, yeah. My gosh. Oh, a tour of Garth Williams illustrations. Oh my gosh. That I have to check out. Um, oh yeah, I'm going to check that out. That is cool, Larry, because Garth Williams is one of my favorite. He is an amazing illustrator. To have illustrated what he did, yeah, amazing. All right, you guys. Patty's sitting out in the sunshine there in the evening doing her Zen doodle, and I'm gonna go wander out with my stuff and take some watercolor or joiner and just sit and relax and enjoy the evening with my big sis. And but I tell you, this past hour with you guys has been a delight and a privilege and a blessing. And I thank you so much. And until next time, everybody, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you. But the first place you'll find it is if you just go look in the mirror. And I'll see you on Sunday. Don't forget to send in some art. Share with some Sunday shenanigans. Yay!
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Feeling alright, we won't go home, we would just stay here downtown. There's not just stars on the boulevard, they're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards, I just need you by my side. We could be shameless.